How do fiscal austerity and stimulus policies compare? Imagine trying to fix a leaky faucet. Sometimes you tighten the valve to stop the drip, and other times you open the tap wider to flush out the clog. Governments use similar strategies to manage the economy, especially when dealing with inflation and growth. Today, we're exploring how these two approaches, fiscal austerity and stimulus policies, stack up against each other. Fiscal austerity is like turning down the volume on government spending. It involves cutting back on public services, raising taxes, or both. The goal is to reduce the budget deficit and public debt. When demand in the economy drops, inflation can slow down because people and businesses buy less. But cutting spending can also slow economic growth, increase unemployment, and reduce services like health care and education. In some countries with weaker financial systems, austerity can even make inflation worse and cause economic instability. In wealthier nations, the effects are often more moderate but still controversial. Critics say austerity might not effectively control inflation and could deepen economic problems like stagnation and high unemployment. It can also weaken workers' bargaining power and benefits, which can hurt social stability. On the flip side, fiscal stimulus is like opening the tap wider. It means governments spend more money or cut taxes to boost demand. This approach aims to support economic growth and reduce unemployment. When demand increases, businesses may produce more, and jobs can be created faster. However, if demand outpaces supply, it can lead to higher inflation. During times of economic slowdown or supply chain issues, stimulus can help stabilize things. But if used excessively or at the wrong time, it might cause the economy to overheat, pushing inflation even higher. The interaction with monetary policy is important here. For example, if a central bank raises interest rates to fight inflation while the government is still spending heavily, the effects can be complicated. Higher interest rates tend to slow borrowing and spending, which can counteract the stimulus. When it comes to controlling inflation, central banks usually turn to monetary policy by adjusting interest rates. But fiscal policy also plays a role. Sometimes, austerity measures are suggested to support monetary tightening by reducing demand. Yet, many economists argue that austerity during high inflation periods might not work well. It can weaken the economy further without significantly lowering inflation, especially if inflation is driven by supply issues rather than demand. Choosing between austerity and stimulus depends on the current economic situation. If inflation is high and demand is strong, moderate austerity might help ease inflation. But if the economy is in a recession or supply is limited, stimulus can support growth without making inflation worse. Coordinating fiscal and monetary policies is key to balancing inflation control and economic stability. In summary, austerity aims to cut demand and slow inflation but can slow growth and increase unemployment. Stimulus boosts demand and employment but risks raising inflation if not managed carefully. Policymakers need to consider the specific economic environment, including supply constraints and the stance of monetary policy, to decide which approach best supports their goals.